Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Gulshan Kumar Bansal, Professor in Department of Pharmaceutical Sciences and Drug Research in Punjabi University Patiala. Today we are going to discuss about a module, Medical Nanobiotechnology and Analytics, nanoscience-based sample extraction techniques under paper nanobiotechnology. Objectives of this module are that sample extraction is a pivotal step in any analytical method. It ensures complete and selective recovery of the target analyte from the complex sample matrix. Extraction of analyte that are present in trace amounts in biological or non-biological sample is most challenging. The objective of this presentation is to provide an overview of the latest sample extraction technologies or products which are derived from nanotechnology. Now, in any analytical method for any substance, sample preparation is a very important step. There are the different sample preparation procedures available like liquid-liquid extraction, solid-liquid extractions, solid phase micro extractions, or so on. And there are some limitations attached to each type of this method. That limitations are related to the specificity, to the sensitivity, to the selectivity, or so on. The nanomaterials or the nanotechnological derived materials, they can be made very specific because of their specific surface functionalization. They are very small in size, so their surface area is very large, so they can be used as efficient tools to extract out a particular analyte from any sample, maybe biological, maybe chemical, maybe environmental, it may be solid, liquid, gas, anything. So in this module, we will be discussing about the different types of different type of nanomaterials which are used in sample preparation. Analytical nanotechnology, also called as a nanoanalytics, which involves the application of nanotechnology in the development of analytical technologies. Here the nanomaterials are used in two ways. One is the nanomaterials are used as analytical tools to extract analytes from the complex mixtures. Those complex mixtures may be biological or non-biological. The required solutes are separated from the complex mixture using the nano size or the special properties of nanomaterials. Secondly, the nanomaterials also need to be analyzed, means they are the target analyte, so we need specialized analytical methods for their analysis. So here in this module we will be discussing the nanomaterials as analytical tools. The nanomaterials, they play different roles in analytics. Some nanoparticles are acting as sorbent agents. In this case, there is a direct interaction between the analyte and the nanoparticle. Nanoparticles may be acting as an inert sport also. For example, a silica nanoparticle is functionalized with a complexing agent, and that complexing agent helps in sample preparation. Nanoparticles having special magnetic properties. In this case, the use of a magnetic field can help to simplify the analytical procedure, and these nanoparticles can either absorb the analyte directly or can be functionalized with organic groups for their action. And finally, the nanoparticles may be acting as ionizing agents for the direct analysis of samples by ion secondary mass spectrometry. Now, different types of nanoparticles are used, and based upon their properties, their uses are varied. Now, in this picture, we are seeing that the silica nanoparticles are being exploited for their chemical properties. Similarly, the nanomissiles are also exploited for their chemical properties. And polymeric nanoparticles, they are used for their chemical and electrical properties. But the metallic nanoparticles and carbon nanoparticles, they are the most versatile because they are used for their chemical, electrical, optical, thermal and magnetic properties as well. So this slide suggests that the metallic nanoparticles and carbon nanoparticles are most suitable to be used in the sample preparation. Though every step in analytical process has its own role and importance, but sample treatment is being the first step is most critical. So the different steps which are involved in analytical process are first the sampling, then the sample treatment. The treated sample is subjected to a separation technique, maybe chromatography or electrophoresis, and then the analyte is detected, and then finally it is converted into some quantifiable signal. Now it is particularly important that when handling biological samples for analysis of biomolecules such as proteins, peptides, nucleic acids, oligosaccharides, enzymes, and other biomolecules which are present usually in trace amounts. The objectives of an ideal sample preparation procedure are to increase amount or concentrations of target molecules present in low abundance in the sample, that is pre-concentration for subsequent analysis, and to exclude interfering analytes from sample matrix, and derivatization of less sensitive target molecules to form that can provide more satisfactory analytical results. So these are the three objectives which are to be met by ideal sample preparation procedure. There are actually two challenges in the preparation or pre-treatment of a biological sample. One is to extract the required analyte from the complex heterogeneous biological matrix, and the second is to extract it in a maximum amount to increase the sensitivity of the analytical method. So, the two requirements of a sample treatment process are selectivity and extraction efficiency. Nanomaterials, due to their extremely small size, having diverse morphologies and tunable, highly specific surface functionalization, present themselves as an excellent material for developing a near perfect sample extraction method or device. So broadly, the nanomaterials are classified into two categories. One is the nanoparticles, another is the nanoporous structures for the purpose of sample preparation. Nanoparticle means they are the solid particles, spherical one, and nanoporous structure means they are, of course, the solid one but having pores. Varied nanoparticles find their specific application on the basis of their composition. It may be core or as well as the surface composition of the nanoparticle, while selection of a nanoporous material for a sample preparation method is guided by its pore size and shape. Carbon nanoparticles. There are basically three types of materials which are derived from carbons. One is the fullerenes, second is the nanotubes, and third is a graphene. As visible from the picture, the graphene, they are the single atom sheets, nanotubes, they are the folded graphenes, and fullerenes, they are the spherical forms. And out of these, the nanotubes and graphenes, they are most commonly or popularly used in sample preparation for the extraction of a particular analyte. The various applications of the carbon nanotubes and the graphenes include the analysis of different types of analytes in the different samples, like polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, which are detected in the environmental samples. Organophosphorus pesticides are detected with the help of these nanomaterials in the soil or in the crop also, and similarly phthalic acid esters are also detected in the environmental samples and the water samples. So their interaction with these compounds, that means the interaction between the carbon nanotubes and graphenes with these solutes, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons and so on, they are based upon the aromatic residues and hydrophobicity interactions between the nanomaterials and these analytes. The different derivatized carbon nanoparticles are available, and they are made available by conjugation of the chelating or thiolation reagents with carbon nanoparticles, and they improve their selectivity for the metal ions. For example, biphenyl carbazide, diphenyl acetylamino carboxylate, 3-methyl 3-mercaptopropyl selenotriolate, These are the few complexing agents which can be bound onto the carbon nanoparticles to increase their specificity. The features of these derivatized carbon nanoparticles include their low density, smaller particle size, and excellent dispersity. Now, there are some problems associated with the carbon nanoparticles. So, when carbon nanoparticles are packed or in a column or in cartridges, their flexibility in the particle shape and liability to entanglement may cause undue back pressure and reduce both effective surface area and adsorption efficiency. On the other hand, low density, small particle size, and excellent dispersity after chemical modification make the separation of carbon nanoparticles from aqueous solutions problematic and incomplete. So, if we increase the particle size, right, the adsorption will be compromised. If we decrease the particle size, then the recovery will be compromised. So, to deal with that, the combination of carbon nanoparticles with other kinds of materials has been adopted to solve these problems and improve the performance of carbon nanoparticles for sample preparation. For the packed column methods, carbon nanoparticles could be covalently modified on silica support to fix their position in a packed column so that they do not form aggregates, they do not cause back pressure, and to facilitate their separation, the carbon nanoparticles are combined with the magnetic nanoparticles so that with the help of a magnet, they can be separated without any difficulty. Gold nanoparticles and silver nanoparticles are two major metallic nanoparticles which are used for bioseparation and bioanalysis due to their excellent physical and chemical properties. These provide tunable surface for recognizable target molecules. The interaction between biomolecules containing sulfur group and gold nanoparticles plays a significant role in biomolecule recognition via gold-sulfur bonds. A simple and sensitive method is reported for extraction, pre-concentration, and determination of progesterone, testosterone from biological fluids like human plasma and urine using gold nanoparticles, grafted thiol modified nanoparticles. And it was observed that the limit of detection for progesterone was 0.05 nanogram per ml and the limit of detection for testosterone was 0.07 nanogram per ml of the solution. So we see that the extraction efficiency of the nanoparticle is extremely high. The modified nanoparticles are also available. For example, gold nanoparticle conjugated with polyneoisopropyl acrylamide, which is a thermally responsive polymer, and decorated with an antibody is used in the extraction of antibody-specific biomarkers. Similarly, a modified silver nanoparticle is available. For example, the functionalized with the 33-thiamine nucleotide silver nanoparticle, which specifically captures mercuric ions from the aqueous solution, and its limit of detection is 3 picomoles. The silica nanoparticles are easy to synthesize and modify by various functional groups on their surface. And these are excellent for in vivo bioanalysis because of their characterization and determination is the in vivo bioanalysis has emerged as a prime choice for the characterization and determination of various biomarkers and drugs. For this, silica nanoparticles and silica-based nanoparticles offer the most acceptable solution because these have excellent biocompatibility and have very stringent stability in physiological conditions. Moreover, these can be functionalized with a wide range of markers with no synthetic complexity. Now, fluorine-18 labeled hydrophobin coated silica nanoparticles are an example in which hydrophobin assists adsorption of plasma proteins, whereas the fluorine-18 radio labeling enable easy quantification of nanoparticles in tissue using radiometric methods and imaging nanoparticles like PET technique. Nanosilica fabricated with silver nanoparticles is another example which is an efficient adsorbent for the dye contaminants in water. So these nanoparticles are used for analysis of dyes in the water. Polymer nanoparticles are derived from polymerization of monomers. The properties of polymeric nanoparticles are governed by the monomers as well as the morphological and interfacial characteristics. These have an advantages of having good flexibility, variable composition, facile functionalization at room temperature, and a relatively low cost. These can be nanospheres or nanocapsules as shown here, depending upon the method of preparation. In nanospheres, the drug is entangled in the polymeric matrix of the particle, whereas in nanocapsule, the drug is enclosed in a polymeric layer of the particle. Now, the different polymers are used for the preparation of or the fabrication of polymer nanoparticles. These polymers may be natural or synthetic. The natural polymers are hydrophilic, means they are soluble in water, and that include proteins and polysaccharides, whereas the synthetic polymers, they are hydrophobic in nature, and there may be pre-polymerized or they can be monomers which can be converted into polymers during the process of formation of or the fabrication of nanoparticles. Here is shown an application of a polymeric nanoparticle in sample preparation. The liquid sample containing various metal ions like lead, cobalt, manganese, zinc, chromium, cadmium is treated with a polymeric nanoparticle under some specific conditions of temperature and pH and ionic strength. The metal ions are adsorbed on the nanoparticles. These used up nanoparticles are isolated by suitable technique like filtration or ultrafiltration or centrifugation or ultracentrifugation. The adsorbed metal ions are separated from the isolated used up nanoparticles by treatment with hydrochloric acid, and this solution of hydrochloric acid containing metal ions is then quantitatively analyzed for the purpose. Nanoporous structures are another kind of nanomaterials which are used in sample preparation. As the name indicates, these are the porous structures with nano-sized pores. There are of three types of nanoporous structures: metal organic frameworks, imprinted polymers, and mesoporous materials. Metal organic frameworks are a hybrid organic-inorganic materials. These are constructed by strong coordination bonds between metal ions as nodes and organic linkers as rods. So they have dual positive attributes of inorganic and organic compounds, that is, the stability from inorganic materials and modifiability from organic materials. The major advantage are their extra large surface area. The surface area can vary from 1000 to 10,000 meters square per gram, and diversity in their pore sizes, or we can say porosity, which makes them promising material for sample preparation of analytes as small as metal ions and as large as proteins. The most commonly used metal ion for construction of metal organic frameworks include aluminium, iron, lanthanum, magnesium, chromium, copper, zinc, and zirconium. The pore size of metal organic frameworks varies significantly, and so different metal organic frameworks can selectively adsorb and exclude large biomolecules depending upon the pore size. The specificity of metal organic frameworks can be modulated by tagging specific organic molecules along the pore surface. The intermolecular interactions responsible for retention of analyte molecules while passing the sample matrix through the porous network include pi-pi interactions, hydrophobic interactions, electrostatic interactions, and hydrogen bonding interactions. So here we are seeing the two metal organic frameworks of the same composition but with the different pore sizes. So here are shown some examples of applications of different metal organic frameworks derived from different organic molecules and varied metal ions. As clearly visible in the table that target analytes can be metal ions as well as organic compounds, from being as simple as alkynes to as complex as proteins from any sort of example ranging from water, air or human tissues. So it reflects the versatility in the applications of metal organic frameworks in sample preparation of different kinds of analytes in the different kinds of matrices. Imprinted polymers, also called as a molecularly imprinted polymers, is a versatile material that is capable of recognizing any molecule or ion. The target analyte may be amino acids, proteins, nucleic acid and its derivatives, organic chemicals, inorganic compounds, drugs and food. A molecularly imprinted polymer is fabricated by complexing a template, which may be any compound or ion for which the polymer is being fabricated with functional monomers. This complex is formed due to binding forces such as hydrogen bonding, ionic interactions, pi-pi interactions or hydrophobic interactions between the complementary functional groups of the template and monomers. The complexes are then polymerized with the help of a suitable cross-linking agent to create a polymeric network of the complexes. Thereafter, the template is removed from the polymeric network by disrupting the binding forces with suitable methods like change in pH, ionic strength or temperature. This removal creates holes in the polymeric network whose shape and size is specific to the template, and each hole is lined with a functional monomer to interact with the template. So each hole acts as actually a molecular recognition site. So when a sample which contains that template as target analyte is passed through it, the analyte is retained in the hole or the site and the rest of the unwanted sample matrices pass through it. So these are some commonly used monomers. These include 2-phenylpyridine, 4-phenylpyridine, 1-imidazole, acrylic acid, acrylamide, methacrylic acid, trifluoromethyl acrylic acid, and the other derivatives of sulfonic acid, and there is another derivative of methacrylate. And these are the most commonly used cross-linkers like divinyl benzene. It can be ortho, meta or para-divinyl benzene, ethylene glycol methacrylate, then there is trimethylopropane methacrylate and pentatritol triacrylate. Imprinted polymers are being used in many systems for the sample preparations. So here are the examples shown from the reported studies, and again it is evident that the imprinted polymers can be used for diverse types of solutes in the diverse types of samples. The mesoporous materials is another type of nanomaterial which is used in the sample preparation. A porous material is a solid network of material containing continuous pores. A mesoporous material is a material that has a pores of diameter ranging from 2 to 50 nanometer. The materials having pores on the diameter of less than 2 nanometer are called as a microporous, and those having diameters more than 50 nanometers are called as macroporous. And these materials are derived from silica, alumina and oxides of certain metals such as zirconium, lead, titanium, tantalum and tin. So here are shown some examples of mesoporous materials, and we see they are available in the different shapes, different sizes and with the different pore sizes. So they are derived from different materials and they are specific for the different analytes. Here is shown a size selective effect of mesoporous materials in sample preparation for the analysis of some species in a sample. When a heterogeneous mixture is passed through a mesoporous material of a specific pore size, the analytes of molecular size equal to or smaller than the pore size of the mesoporous material are allowed to pass through it, whereas the higher size solutes or high molecular weight species are excluded. So it is a kind of, we can say, a filtration or ultrafiltration. This represents a general experimental procedure in which the nanomaterials are used in the sample preparation. So like here it is shown that impurities and microorganisms, they are present in one sample. The functionalized magnetic nanoparticles are added to this sample of microbes and impurities. Then these are incubated, and following the incubation, the microbial cells are isolated and concentrated with a magnet because of magnetic nanoparticles. These are washed, so the specific microbes are isolated, and the enriched cells are mixed with the Maldi matrix solution, and which is then subjected to mass spectral analysis for identification of the microbes or microbial proteins. So this is another general procedure which shows how the nanoparticles can be used in isolation or extraction of some chemical analytes. The sample is mixed with the nanoparticles in the first step, and then suitable surfactant is added to enhance the interactions or micelle formation in the second step, and then those micelles are extracted with a suitable extraction method with the solvents, and then these are concentrated with the help of a magnet because they are the magnetic nanoparticles, and finally the micelles are disintegrated to release the analyte, and the nanoparticles are then reused, and the isolated analyte is then analyzed with the help of suitable analytical method. So in a summary, we can say that nanomaterials provide an excellent and versatile platform for extraction of varied types of analytes from any sort of sample. The specificity of each type of nanomaterial is guided by the material and experimental parameters used for their fabrication. Because of extraordinary efficiency and selectivity, these materials are being increasingly used in analytical science. Thank you.